Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for checking out another episode of the Skyward Cast. I am Joey Craig, here with my co-host, Delvin Cox.
Follow procedures. The crowd couldn't wait to see this. Nobody's been this long awaited since Jesus. Who wouldn't believe this? I heard the word on the street is I'm still one of the deepest on the mic since Adidas. What up, guys? By the way, that's Rakim, by the way.
Got to come through with a rap. I never know. You said Rakim.
That's Rakim. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's fitting for this podcast episode. So that's why I specifically rapped that verse.
You say, why is it fitting?
Because just look at what it said. The name of the song is "It's Been a Long Time."
Yeah, it has been a long time, man.
Yeah, then the lyrics is follow procedures. The crowd couldn't wait to see this. Nobody's been this long awaited since Jesus. That says it all right there.
I don't know if they're waiting for us that much, but
oh my God.
Hey, I guess, I mean, people enjoy the podcast. I appreciate that. But I don't know about Jesus. You know what I'm saying? If it was that hype, I'd be getting some money from this sucker.
Yeah, it's us. It's Jesus. Then it's Rakim. It's us. That's how it goes.
Okay. I don't know about that, man. But what you been up to, man?
Nothing much, man. Playing Spider-Man. Living my best life. That's not a song, right?
Oh man, that doggone little Duval, man.
That's crazy. Man.
That's crazy. I was kind of hyped for him when I first heard that on the radio. It was like, this dude, he just came up out of nowhere. Well, not out of nowhere. He's been working for a long time, but it's just like, boom. Like, how the heck you get on the radio?
Yeah, that's what happened when you put in that work, man. You know, it happens. He's been doing this thing for a long time. It's funny that the way he blows up is by this song. He's been doing the comedian thing forever.
Yeah. I'm happy for him for that.
Yeah,
but
definitely happy for him. Well, let's get down to some topics. You got a topic you want to talk about? I got several I can bring up. So, because it's been a while since we talked about
that Nintendo Online controversy. Everybody's been going in on that.
All right, we can talk about that. Yeah, I'm down with that.
What do you think?
I talked about it a couple days ago on Twitter. I think like my whole thing is, how do I say this properly? I feel like Nintendo kind of Nintendo'd it in the sense where they made this big announcement they're gonna go online and things like that, and they named the price, but then you literally this is one of the situations where you get what you pay for. And I personally would have rather them come up with a full-fledged system like PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live, give us the same quality stuff like that, and charge us at a premium. I think it's cool that they have like the service is $20 a year. Correct? If I'm correct?
Yeah, 24 a year for a single person, like 30 if you have like a family plan, 36 or something like that.
That's a great deal, and it's a great deal to the fact that you can play classic Nintendo games. So I think that's awesome. And even with the problem, because the biggest problem everybody's having with is the fact that Nintendo said that once your subscription lapses, any saves you have in the cloud will be erased. Which is now being debated, by the way. That's a horrible system. It's being debated. They're saying that I've heard from other sources that I was reading about. They said that it's not necessarily true. I think like it's basically they're saying it's similar to PlayStation, but they don't want to say it because they're not sure that it will actually work the same way. Because I'm correct, PlayStation Plus holds your saves and stuff for like 90 days or something like that.
6 months.
Or 6 months? Okay.
Yep, 6 months after it expires. And the crazy, like, I don't even think any of this should be a thing. Like, Microsoft does it for free on both sides. Like, you can transfer through USB storage for free, and you get free cloud storage. I mean, I accept PlayStation's way because the cloud saves are just, I mean, that's a part of a subscription, but you can still do it through a thumb drive or a hard drive for free. But Nintendo's, I
Yes.
feel like that's the most like slimy way to actually make it so you have no other option. When there's an SD card, there's a USB port, you could easily give people the option, but they just want to lock it behind a subscription.
Well, it's Nintendo being Nintendo. Like I said, I'm not beat up about it. I'm not pissed off by it. Like I kind of feel the same way how I felt about the whole crossplay thing. And the point, like, whatever. How often will I really be sitting there cross playing? How often will I really be cloud saving? I do it on my PlayStation because I play a wealth of games on my PlayStation. It's like with the Switch, I kind of look at the Switch like don't get me wrong, it's a great console. I love it, but I look at it almost like I look at my like a handheld almost in a sense where
Yeah.
I play it when I want to play it. I don't really think about all the online function of it. So it's not like the thing has built-in online on it anyway. So I don't really think about that aspect. I think it'll be cool to have the saves just in case your Switch crashes, because I've heard stories about people Switches crashing and then they lose all their stuff. So that aspect of it, I kind of
like that right there makes me like never want to get it until they actually give a solid solution. And then the fact that, like I was just saying, like the fact that they lock the only solution you have to backups behind a subscription makes me not want to support them at all. You know what I mean? Like the games are cool.
I can see that.
The majority of the games I even want to play on there are on Wii U, so it's like, hey,
The Wii U is a dumpster fire. I'm not ever touching the Wii U.
Oh my god!
I can't
listen.
I hate the Wii U. It is a horrible system. It is a horrible system. It is the worst. I cannot stand that system at all. I don't like the controller. I don't like that stupid toy controller that it has. I don't like the fact how I don't like it. I don't like its stupid face. I hate the Wii U with a passion.
It's like a giant DS though, man.
No, I barely like the DS.
Oh,
I hate the Wii U.
Yeah, I knew you had a bad taste, man.
No. That's not the problem. I think the thing about the Wii U and even the DS, and the thing about the big difference between the Wii U and the DS is the DS has so many great games, you can't help but respect it.
Mm-hmm.
The Wii U feels like a freaking toy. I don't like how it feels. I don't like the fact that if you drop that thing, it's going to break. And when you have kids, that's like, ugh. It's not, how do you say it? I'm trying to think of a proper way to say it. It's not kid friendly for one thing. At least with the Switch is a lot more durable. It feels great in your hands. It feels like something that not only kids can enjoy and play, adults can too. You don't look stupid carrying a Switch around. I do not like the DS. Not the DS, the Switch. My bad. Not the Switch. The Wii U. I hate that system. It is one of the worst.
Less durable than a Switch?
The Wii U, yeah. That plastic, what is the damn thing called? Gamepad? That plastic gamepad. If it takes one good hit, it's gone. It's cheap plastic.
And then that's like it was real expensive to replace.
Exactly. You got to buy. It's basically replacing that thing is buying a whole new system.
That's crazy.
I do not like that system at all. It's maybe the Wii U may be my least favorite system, but then again, it's crazy that I say that because if you don't have the Wii U, you probably don't get a Switch. Because the Wii U feels like the prototype of the Switch. The Switch is everything the Wii U should have been.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I will say this too. This is crazy. The Switch may be my favorite Nintendo console.
What?
Yeah. It might be because it's everything you want. It's almost everything you want in the console. It's portable. It's portable when it needs to be portable. And then when you want to play it on the system, you just put it in the dock. It's so convenient and it's so easy to just go from handheld system that's awesome to a console system that's awesome. And the games on it are great. Like in terms of system-wise and functions and utilities, it might be my favorite Nintendo console.
So comfort.
Not necessarily games-wise, but in terms of how the system looks, how it feels, the convenience of the system, the Switch might be my favorite Nintendo console.
I haven't had that much hands-on times with it, so I don't know. I mean, either way, it's preference, but it's just like Jeez, that sucker is so out the gate. Like I feel like I'd have to get a second controller for it because like I've
Yeah,
played with it and the face buttons they feel smaller than I think they actually are smaller than the buttons on the 3DS.
yeah. Can you
And
talk about the Joy Cons? The Joy Cons, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I
so I
felt like
mean,
that too at first, but then the thing about it is, you can find pro controllers, and you can get you can even get like the knockoff Nintendo wired controllers that are official Nintendo controllers that and just hook it up to it. And it's fine. It works perfectly fine. Like I have like two of them. They were like $20 a piece, and they look awesome. I think one of them had like Mario, one has Link on it. They look great, and they're fun to collect. Honestly,
it's just the fact that it feels like it requires so much. You know what I mean? That I had to buy for it, especially for me, like, cause my hands I have kind of big hands, so
it's it's
I'd
the
have to
opposite.
get like, I'd have to get like a freaking, I'd have to get like what are those like those grips to make it feel more like a controller? Cause I feel like it'd make my
Well,
hand cramp.
it has a controller grip to it too. It comes with a little thing that you put the Joy Cons in, and that's basically the same thing.
No, I'm talking about for playing in handheld. Because if I get one, I'd
Yeah.
probably want to play it most times in that.
Well, even so, it has a stand, so you can like prop it up on a desk and stuff like that, and play it with the Joy Cons off, and put it in like a little. It's like a little controller port. I forgot what they call it, and you can play it like that. I
Isn't
love
that
that
stand
console.
trash though?
It's not. I wouldn't say it's trash. It's decent. You're not going to be sitting there banging the stand across the floor or nothing like that, but it works. I've used it several times, and it
Hmm.
worked pretty good for me.
Well, one of these days I'm actually gonna get some true hands-on time with it, and I'll see. But for right now, it just man, I just playing with it for a little bit. It was like, what the heck is this? Like, it's so flat. There's nowhere to put my hands. It doesn't fit. Like, I mean, I understand it's supposed to be. I don't know. It's portable, but it's beyond pocketable. So,
Yeah, it's
like,
not
I think they
pocketable.
should. No, I'm saying, like, yeah. So I'm thinking they should have just. You already can't pocket it, so you might as well have just added a little more grip. You know what I'm saying? Some
Yeah,
round out the backs a little bit, but whatever. It is what it is. That
yeah.
Satisfy Pro gamer grip. That thing looks
I
like
think it's
it'd probably be good for me.
yeah. I think it's the thing. The thing about the system is it makes you want to buy more stuff for it, which is crazy to say. Like, for example, like you just said, it's not portable necessarily. So the first thing you think is, oh, I want to carry this thing around. Let me go buy a carrying bag for it. And then you think about it, well, I don't necessarily like using the Joy Cons for every game. Maybe you can buy me an extra controller for it. And some people, like I say, some people buy the Pro controller, which is $70, which is ridiculous. That's a ridiculous price for a regular controller, basically. The thing about it, like people like me, first thing when I saw the Pro controller was $70, I went to Walmart and they had a gang of controllers that are Nintendo licensed controllers for like $25. The only thing about them is they're wired, but they work perfectly and they look good. So I just figured I'll just buy one of those and use that. And this, like I said, the system is so got to the point where I'm like, when I got mine, first thing I thought was, I'm not going to share this with my kids. I said, I think I'd rather just buy them their own Switch because I don't want them tearing up mine, and I'd rather have this one to myself. And that's exactly what I ended up doing.
All right, so this is actually a continuation because we started recording the podcast actually 2 days ago. Interruption happened, I personal life thing, and so we actually had to continue this 2 days later. We're not exactly sure where we are on the topic, but we were talking about Nintendo's online service.
It doesn't matter because I have a better topic right now that just blew up, and that's way more interesting to me than anything else. All right,
What's that?
I'm quite sure you've heard about this right now.
Let me
Telltale
guess.
Games is closing its doors.
Oh, I didn't get to guess. Oh man, but that is sad. That
Yeah,
is really sad.
it's really sad, especially to me because that's my favorite studio for one thing. I love
Really?
Telltale. Yes, I love Telltale Games, and I remember like my kids being younger and watching me like coming by, watching me play these games they look cartoonish and they have such vibrant stories and like it's not like when you're playing like Halo and I just see you shooting things and things like that. They see like a whole new world of characters that develop and you go these kind of relationships with them. And even now, as my kids are older now, my son just got through watching me not too long ago, earlier this year, play Batman the Telltale series. And he loved the portrayal of Bruce Wayne in that. And he would walk by there and just sit there and watch me play this game because Telltale games has that effect on people. You can just sit there and it's just as fun to watch somebody play it and hear the story as it is to actually play it. And in some cases, it's more fun. So to see such a studio that was, I guess, bringing storytelling games to the forefront, bringing single player games to the forefront again, and really kind of like hitching its wagon to that, to fall from grace to the point where they're not going to be around no more. And there's even talk now that because right now they were doing the final season of The Walking Dead, which seems like a fitting swan song, but it's coming to the point where that might not even get finished.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I hope somebody can come through with some funding or something so that they can actually bring that to an end. Because to go through all this, like all those seasons, and then just, well, here's episode 2, that would suck, man.
It's sad, and not only that, it's just such history there because Telltale's been around for a while. Like this Sam and Max, even before they blew up, I think because the studio started with like 25 people. They made like the Sam and Max games and Back to the Future and the Jurassic Park games. So it's a lot of it's a lot of history there, and it's basically going to be gone. This is something that I know people give it flack, but THQ Nordic's been picking up all these crazy licenses in these companies and studios. This is something I would like to see them pick up because I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that studio die.
Yeah.
It's crazy to say that, but like, yo, I would never have thought we would get to the point where we'll see Telltale games not around anymore.
Hopefully somebody can do something about that. You know what I mean? Because honestly, I don't have that attachment to it, but because I've never actually played more than just like the season 1 demo for The Walking Dead. So I mean, I didn't really get to experience that, having people sitting beside me actually following the story with me and all that. I mean, I see how that could be, you know what I mean? But seriously, just to see how it affected other people and the fan base that they grew from all these different stories. Yeah, that would suck. So hopefully somebody can pull that off.
Yes, it's really sad to see because, like I said, watching Telltale's one of the rare few studios that actually feels like a movie company in a sense where each story has a continuation. The story always continues on, and you can get season 1, season 2. And the thing about it is the barrier for entry for these games was never high. Like the season would cost like $25. You get maybe like 6 hours of gameplay out of it, which is a decent price and pretty cool. And each branching paths in each one of them and things like that. And then as you play, you kind of grow attached to these characters. Yes, the engine, there was certainly problems with the games and things like that. But what you paid for it, you got kind of like for the price, it made it more than worth it, I say.
Mm-hmm.
And to see that, because what I'm reading is that about it was basically money management problem. That it's not that they wasn't making money, it was just that they wasn't managing their money properly and things wasn't working out. Like a couple of the games didn't sell like they were supposed to be. Some of them was underwhelming. Like people had complaints about the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which wasn't that bad, but I can see where people would complain about it. And people was complaining about the engine and things like that. People was necessarily just complaining about, hey, maybe Telltale's taking on too many properties.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at what Telltale was doing, which I always found interesting, is that I don't know if you remember. I'm quite sure you do remember this. There was this middle ground where licensed games would come out on, and most of them were terrible.
Oh,
like you'd have this like these THQ licensed games that wasn't really that good, that people would just go out and buy like crazy. Telltale found a way to make licensed games interesting again. In terms of like the Walking Dead license, they took that and made it its own thing and made it cool. And like, where you can look at, I would say that people know Clementine and Lee Everett just as much as they know Rick Grimes because of the Telltale games. especially that season 1 of Walking Dead that people loved. And they had that. They had the Batman series that, well, it was Batman. It was kind of your own Batman. You kind of created how you wanted your Batman to be, whether he was like more like the Dark Knight Batman or more like Batman the animated series Batman. It was such a cool concept in these games, and it made you adapt and feel like something for these characters. So when something would happen, the thing about Telltale games is they would give you choices, and some of the choices wasn't easy. Like you lose one of your favorite characters, and nothing you could do about it. And it made licensed games matter. And to see that go away, you're probably not going to see a company do that again. Yeah, you got Sony with Spider-Man, but that's just one game. Telltale did this with lots of all their properties was licensed games. You have Minecraft, you have Guardians of the Galaxy, you have Batman, you have Walking Dead, you have Tales from the Borderlands. People love Tales from the Borderlands. You have A Wolf Among Us. You have so many licensed games, and they were making a Stranger Things game.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it really sounds like they were just taking on too much. Because for a minute it was like, dang, another one. I mean,
yeah,
and you don't want it to be, you don't want it to feel like overload. You know what I mean? Like you're hearing too much from this developer, and I think it was kind of getting there. Like that, along with the fact that a lot of the art styles, there wasn't that much of a difference, which is, I guess, that was where the complaint was. When are they going to change up the engine? When they going to make things look a little different? Because they all had that comic book like style to them. But yeah, man, that's when you were describing that, like the different paths you can take and all that. That was reminding me of BioWare, like
yes.
my experience playing like Mass Effect, and it's like, oh dang. So now I get it.
Yeah, and I love BioWare too. That's one of my favorite companies too, and it's like that, but on a smaller scale. So you can get instant gratification from it. In terms of BioWare, when you have to play your 30 hours, and then you have the big moment happens,
Mm-hmm.
and it's life or death with Commander Shepard or something like that. Telltale has that feel, but you get it almost every episode. And in every episode, something shocking happens. You're like, hold on, how are we gonna deal with this? And I remember, like, one of my favorite Telltale memories is for one of the games that people didn't necessarily like because it was more slow paced, but it was from Game of Thrones. Okay, I'll just tell it right now because this game's been out for a while. If you haven't played it,
Hold on.
I'm gonna play it.
I'm extreme about spoilers, man. Hold on.
Where you play Game of Thrones?
Is it connected in any way to the TV series?
Very loosely.
I might want to, man. I haven't started Game of Thrones yet. All right, if it's a loose spoiler.
Well, it's a spoiler for the game. It's not a spoiler for the series itself, the TV show. Will you play the game?
Possibly.
Okay, so this.
All right.
Okay, I won't tell what happened. I won't tell exactly what happens, but I will just explain the scenario. There's a point in the game where it's like a major point in one of the episodes. I don't want to say what episode it is, just in case you play it. But you have to choose between two characters, and both of these characters are your main characters. And whoever you pick, the other one gets brutally murdered, Game of Thrones style, and it changes the whole dynamic of the game. And
you got me kind of hyped about these.
Based on how you play it, it's a heartbreaking moment. Much like Game of Thrones TV series. When you lose a major character, you're like, well, I didn't see that coming. Because it was like, you see this, it's getting to the point, like just much like Game of Thrones, when you see the good guys are finna come up and overthrow something, then all of a sudden, something drastic happens and it goes all downhill from there. And you see this one moment with one of your favorite characters. You have to pick between the two. And like I said, whoever you pick, the other one's it's dead. And it's such a dramatically strong moment in the game because you got to say goodbye to this character that you know for these previous episodes. And it's so cool how they do it. And you know the character's going to die, but he's going out fighting. It's awesome. It's just one of those moments that can't be replicated only in Telltale games.
Dang, that sounds like something I need to get into, man. Because That's what pulls me into video games. You know what I'm saying? The fact that it's like I'm playing through a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's why I was so heavy in the BioWare games, and that's why I just bought Mass Effect Andromeda. Plus, it was dirt cheap. It was literally $9 plus
yeah,
Prime was. So that, yeah, I got that nothing for nothing. But yeah, man, I really need to try some of them out. I don't know which one to start with, and that just makes it even worse that a developer responsible for bringing that kind of energy to the industry is just might be phased out. I mean, especially over something like financial reasons. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That sucks, man.
yeah. And then you look at all the people who worked on these games losing their jobs, and yeah, they'll bounce back. But when you get attached to a company that you love, and then you have to let that go, that's a hard toll to take. I feel awful for these people who lost their jobs. This is hundreds of people. And the thing about it is, what makes it even worse is because of their money problems, these people lost their job and doesn't have any severance.
That's whack. Dang, like if I was like a Apple or a Amazon, I would have. If I'd have heard about that, I would have scooped them up, man. They're both trying to, really trying to create different streams. You know what I mean? Or trying to get into gaming in some ways, and that just seems like, especially for like an Apple, I don't know. It feels like that would work. I mean, I'm sure, and I'm sure that they're freaking what is it, the Apple TV?
Yeah,
I know that sucker can play it. So I don't know. I would have tried to scoop them up and try to bring some exclusive content to my devices and just put it on everything. And I don't know.
yeah, I hope so. Right now, I think they said there's only 25 people left in the studio, and they're just like there to like basically shut up the studio and finish all their obligations to the corporations. I think because they were working a Minecraft TV show for Netflix. Yeah,
What?
like a yeah, a Minecraft story mode TV show for Netflix. So I think they have to finish that up, and then that's it. I think, to my knowledge, they haven't said what they're gonna do with the rest of their franchise or anything like that. But everybody's saying that basically episode 2 of The Walking Dead final season is gonna be the last episode, which sucks because it's gonna be unfinished. And the crazy thing about it is, if you played episode 1 of it, they changed the engine in a way that made it feel a lot better. It felt different. It felt dynamic. So you can see the seeds for change there. And it sucked that we're not going to see the finished results of that. A character that I've been following for quite some time. Clementine has been in gaming for a long time now.
Hmm.
And now we're not going to get the end of her story. That sucks.
Maybe they'll release like a comic or something.
I wouldn't object to that.
I mean, that's what Ubisoft did with Assassin's Creed, which irritated the heck out of me. But in this case, I understand it. You know what I mean? Companies shutting down, I'm sure people would rather be able to get the end of it in a book or a comic rather than just that's it. You're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sounds like a cheaper option. I mean, you can get some crowdfunding and they can bring together a book like that.
Shoot. If they were to say they wanted to do some crowdfunding to finish the season, I would be all for that.
Oh heck yeah!
I
Why
would give
don't they? What the heck?
$100 right now
What
just
the heck?
to get that done. And that's crazy to say that. I would probably not say that about any game. But this is one series I would be like, all right, if they need the money and they needed $100, I would pull it out my pocket right now to give it to it just to see the end of this game through.
Hmm.
That says a lot. Because there's almost no game that I would sit there and be like, you know what? You guys can't finish it. Let me chip in my money and crowdfund to get this done. Especially to the point of $100. $100 ain't a little bit of money.
Hey, a lot of people throw $100 on the special editions all the time.
Not when you got kids, you don't.
Oh well,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I have a couple of special editions I spent about $100 on. I got for WWE, I think it was 2K15. They had a Hulk Hogan special edition that came with the Funko Pop and his autograph and a piece of the ring that he was at when he fought The Rock. I got that one. I got the John Cena one they first originally had. I love wrestling. I think that's about it. And I got a couple more special editions. I bought the Justice 2 special edition because I found it for cheap when I went to Florida SuperCon. It came with a Batman and Brainiac statue, so that was cool. But generally speaking, I do not spend that type of money on games or gaming related stuff per se.
When was that? What year did you pick up that that Hulk Hogan thing?
I want to say 15. Let me find. I'm not sure.
Wasn't that around the time when they said he came out? When that stuff came out, he was being racist or something?
I'll tell you when it was.
That mess kind of blew me away for a second. Well, not really blew me away. I can't say like I was a big fan. I liked his reality show back in the day.
I hit it right on the head. It was WWE 2K15. That's exactly what it was.
Mm.
I don't know when the allegations came out, but I remember. I think it was a little bit after that.
Oh, no allegations. Didn't they get like it was released tape or something?
Yeah, it was allegations. He said it.
Yeah.
But yeah. But it's crazy. Do we want to get to that? You want to talk about that right now?
Yeah, we can. I'm curious. I'm curious what your opinion was on that as a fan, because I mean, I'm someone who I didn't invest a whole bunch of years into watching, his wrestling career, so I can't really feel it like someone like you might.
I'm a big fan of Hulk Hogan. Still am, but so I looked at the 2 out like, really Hulk. And then I look at it like, if I don't want to be a hypocrite about it, because see, at one point I was pissed off about the whole thing. Then I thought about it, and then I actually looked up stories, and a lot of my favorite wrestlers from back in that day used words just like that, and worse, and said a lot of things. So it made me look at like, So if I have to hate Hulk Hogan, I have to also hate this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. I'm not saying names. But if you do Google searches and you go on your YouTubes, you'll find a lot of your favorite wrestlers have done and said a lot of racist stuff to black wrestlers.
I think that would just be the end of it for me. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not going to co-sign you. That's just like, right, years ago, I was a big fan of John Mayer. And then he came out saying some real funky stuff. And after that, it was just, that was it. You know what I mean? It was like, I don't want to support you. I enjoyed your music. That was like my mood music for years, but hey, it just is what it is. That's when you know better, you do better. And so I knew from that point. And so I cut it off. But, to each their own. So I'm, that's.
I also kind of believe in forgiveness. Like if a person apologizes and genuine about it and finds their way to be like, you know what, I was wrong, then I can kind of forgive them. I won't forget. But I'm like, you know what? People make mistakes. Because I always think about how, I know there's some crazy things I've probably said back in my past that I would probably take back now. Even just like listening to hip hop back in the days, as compared to now. The stuff, I'll give you a perfect example of that. And we can talk about this right now because this is current as opposed to the Hulk Hogan thing. The whole Machine Gun Kelly Eminem beef.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact, even during that whole Kamikaze album, the fact that Eminem called Tyler, the creator, the F word, that's offensive to gay people, right? Old Eminem would never have come out and taken that back. He would have never, Eminem from the 90s would have never have come back out and did an interview like, you know what I said was wrong. I should have never said that. As soon as that song came out, he immediately did an interview about how he was wrong for saying that. And that just shows that's changing people. Like, yo.
I mean, I don't know if that's really a sign of growth. It's just you have to operate a certain way in a particular social climate. You know what I mean? So in this world, in this time, you can't just be like, well, I'm Eminem, I can say that, like he could back in the day. So, I mean, and just like with the Hulk Hogan thing, I don't know if he's actually sorry or is he just sorry that he got caught? Because, no one usually says anything until the light is shining on him and it's just like, oh, I'm so sorry, tears dropping down your face. But where was all that before?
So you're right. Most people never feel remorseful till they get caught, until they realize what they've done. You could say the same thing about Eminem, but I think the thing about the difference with Eminem is the fact that he was getting that type of flack before when he was doing it. He just didn't care because he was selling records. You know, it's not like gay people just started like, oh, it's okay. It was okay back then. No, they weren't fine with it back then either.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big thing that he was being called homophobic and things like that until he went on stage with Elton John and did that song. But like I said, it was a big deal back then that he kind of just brushed over and he got away with it because, and if you want to be honest, Eminem also got those flack about things he said in the past. But we've kind of moved past it. So that's a whole other story. How sometimes people tend to choose who they want to forgive and who they don't want to forgive.
Oh yeah. People are extremely selective, and I think it's like it's. I mean, Eminem is always been like he's playing a character. You know what I mean? Like he used to make those songs about trying to, like he's gonna kill his ex-girlfriend and throw her in the freaking trunk, and you know he used to have all kind of crazy, like real psychotic songs. But it was a part of the character, so you just kind of took it as like, oh, it's entertainment. Whereas, you know, someone getting caught saying some real foul stuff because they didn't, you know someone was recording, that's a little different. So
yeah, but he said some foul stuff when he knew somebody was recording. He kind of meant it. I don't know if you heard that story about Eminem.
Like, what was that?
All right, I don't know. Well, we're already here. Might as well get into it. A while back when he was beefing with Benzino in The Source, a tape came out which was obviously released by The Source because they hated Eminem at the time, of him making a rap song when he was younger, disrespecting black women, calling them monkeys and the B word and things like that. And it became a big deal for a little bit of time, but it kind of got brushed under the table because who it is.
Yeah. I heard about that back in the day, and I didn't really know what it was about until I was really listening to, what was it? I think it was Encore, his album Encore, and he was kind of, I think it was Yellow Brick Road. He was kind of talking about everything that went on, and he apologized for it and all that. But I don't know. I mean, that is true. I am just like most other people. I am really selective.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, because there are people. It's like, yeah, you did something. I'm done with you. It's a wrap. And then this next person is like, well, maybe, because just like think of this, it's like Justin Bieber, right? This fool was recording.
It's happening right now with Kanye.
What?
It's the same thing we're talking about is happening right now with Kanye.
What happened with him?
How Kanye says the things he says, and if anybody else said it, they'd give him hella flack and be like, "We're not buying your stuff no more." And then certain people who are Kanye fans, who are diehard Kanye fans, are kind of like, it's just Kanye being Kanye.
What did he say that was? That?
The whole Trump thing and the whole slavery was what he said? Slavery was a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got flack for it, but his diehard fans kind of brushed it under the table. And like I said, it's because they're fans and because, like I said, certain things, because who it is, they'll let slide. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can pick and choose who you want to ride for and what you want to believe because that's freedom of choice. But it comes to a point where we are basically being hypocrites about it. You can't sit there and say, oh, we ride for Kanye, and then if somebody else does or say the same thing, oh, no, he's canceled.
You see, but the thing about that, once again, it kind of comes like, well, everyone was divided on whether it was what he was saying was what he meant or that he had another meaning, but it just didn't come out right. And even like Nick Cannon was doing an interview and he was just like, you know what? I know what he was saying. He was saying this and this and this, but he's just really bad with his words. You know what I mean? So that's where that kind of goes. So that kind of, so it's like one is entertainment, one is seen as entertainment, one is just taken as a possibly misunderstanding, and then one is just blatant racism or prejudice. You know what I'm saying? So it's slight differences. To me, at least. I don't know.
All right. You were saying something about Justin Bieber. Justin the Bieber.
Oh, yeah. This fool was being straight up racist. He was, he was he was sitting there singing this song when he was younger. It was like right when he first came out too, which is like weird. Like, how you gonna be signed with a black dude and then you gonna he was singing this song in a group of his friends. It was like one less lonely N-word. And he just sat with the hard ER and he was just saying it over and over and over and over again, just in his group of friends. And that came out. And of course he was, oh, I'm sorry. It's like, nah, you was sitting there smiling in video. But it's crazy, right? Because I was extremely hypocritical on that. And I think about that sometimes. Because it was like he came out with songs after that. And then I'd say, oh, maybe he's like, because he was like 13, 14 when that happened. Fine, let's just give him the pass on that, right?
He
But then
rolled with the black people like hard.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I give him that. And then people were saying like Usher gave him his whole talk and he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And it's like, okay, so maybe he learned from it. But then John Mayer, but then once again, it's like, I guess there's that excuse. He was younger. It's like, maybe he just didn't know as well. But him, it's like, yeah, you're done. You're canceled forever. So I guess that's just like the difference between that.
Well,
But either way, it's still me being selective. Other people are just like, nah, forget that.
I think, and nobody will admit to it, but I think everybody has a little bit of hypocrisy in them in terms of what they'll allow to happen and who they're allowed to do certain things as opposed to other people. Like for example, my Hulk Hogan hypocrisy.
Mm.
Hulk Hogan said something that was horrible, and he should have probably had the crap beat out of him for it. He said he's sorry. So in my head, I want to automatically be like, all right, I trust Hulk Hogan. I want to believe that he's sorry for it because I was a Hulk Hogan fan. I grew up a Hulkamaniac, stuff like that. Now, on that same note, somebody else say that, I'm gonna probably want to punch them in their face and want to snap about it. Never want to forgive them. And it's crazy to say that, but it's true. It's crazy. Like, for example, it's crazy how we, as people in society, have our certain allegiances to certain people who we are fans of and things like that, that we will ride. And when it's somebody we're really a fan of, we will ride for them to the death, no matter if they're wrong or not. You can look at down for a perfect example of that is Bill Cosby. There's people out there still caping and riding for Bill Cosby. Even though he's been found guilty and by all accounts, it looked like he did what they said he did. But that's just how fandom kind of works. And if somebody else were to do that exact same thing that Bill Cosby did, they would be all over him. But because it's Bill Cosby, people kind of like, we don't know if Bill did that, or they make it was a different time, or hey, what about Harvey Weinstein? And yeah, true.
Yeah.
What about Harvey Weinstein? But right now we're talking about Bill Cosby. He did something horrible.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that, man. When you have a person's like all the art that they created sprinkled all through the timeline of your life, it's like I don't want to go back and have to completely change the way I think about those experiences. So you'll kind of do anything to protect that. So I understand it, but then sometimes it's like you still, well, this is the reality of things, and you shouldn't just bury your head in the sand just so you can maintain that lie. But like I said, I'm guilty of that sometimes too. But I mean, I've gotten a lot better at it, but still, it happens. I understand we're all selective, and especially if it's something that doesn't directly affect me. Like, I mean, we could give 10,000 examples, but it was just like a recent singer. Her name was Doja Cat, and she was talking about. I think somebody found out that she just kept on saying the F word, offensive.
That's the stupid girl with the cow song.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Hey, hold on. You got to listen to her actual music.
No, I'm cool.
The cow song. Look, the cow song was just for fun. It was just like, and it just happened to go big. But she actually makes legit rap and like R&B pop music. So she's talented. You just got to listen past that. That was a joke. But so that came out and people were like, you know what? You're canceled. I'm done with you. I don't want nothing to do with you. You say that mess. And then I guess people were getting on her because of the way she came out and didn't straight apologize. She was like, I was like 15. I was like 14, 15. You want me to apologize for something I did when I was a kid that everybody was doing in high school, which legit people were like, I remember back in school, people used to say that word like it was nothing.
Yeah,
You know,
that's what
especially
I was alluding to earlier. When I was like, people were younger. That was just a part, especially part of hip hop culture. That's what you kind of said.
Mhm.
And like I said, I wouldn't say that now about a person,
Yeah.
but that was just the culture back then. If you listen to a lot of old hip hop songs, you will hear it almost in every rap song.
Yeah,
Especially
because
these days.
yeah, it was like one of the top tier insults, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
really, you gonna say that? I mean, I see how it's offensive now, but it's like if you throw that at a dude that, you know, it's like I'm trying to maintain my masculinity, and that's hitting them with a bullet, you know. So
Yeah.
I get it, but you know, but yeah, like so that's what happened with her, and so they tried to cancel her for that. And because it didn't have anything directly to do with me, there was that one thing which is kind of wrong. You know what I mean? It's like I understand, but it's like it was a long time ago, and it's like, you know, I can do all that crap, but if it has something to do directly with me, it's like I can get more hyped about it. So I'd probably be ready to cancel somebody. But I mean, so at that point, it was like, yep, I'm selective. And you know what? It is what it is. Everybody doesn't necessarily have to be canceled. It's just like if you don't want to deal with them, you do your own thing.
Well, congratulations. Now you know what white people go through. It's the same thing. If you look at it, how we sit here and complain about things because of what we go through as African Americans in our life, and they see it like, oh, they're just complaining. They don't know. It's not that bad. It's not that big of a deal. Then it takes for something to happen for them to actually, oh, maybe it is a big deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's deeper. What we're talking about is insults. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We're
but
talking about conditions
yeah,
created
insults
from like
it's just like
opportunity being held from you because of your race and stuff like that. That's totally
yeah,
different.
it's very similar because, like, for example, the N word. When a white person calls a black person the N word, we get upset. We don't want to tolerate that. Whereas a white person, they may not say it to us, but they're like, oh, it's just a word. But it's much more than that to us. And while I don't think calling somebody the F word is as strong as it is calling a black person the N word,
Yeah, of course
I
not. The
can see
history.
I can see why a gay person would be offended by that because
Mhm.
there's been situations where gay people have been beaten up for and called that. And I remember times in school where, not to make myself sound like some type of civil rights activist or anything like that, because that's not what I'm saying at all. But I remember in school where, in middle school and high school, where they would call young kids gay or call them the F word, and they try to hit them, and I would have to stop, like, yo, what are you doing?
Mhm.
And I didn't think about it like I was some activist or anything. I thought it was just the right thing to do. But looking back, how many times you think that's happened in other schools where a gay kid just gets the crap beat out of him just for being gay
Yeah.
and called that word? And it's, like I said, it's not on the scale of as slavery and cop beating black people and things like that. But you
Mhm.
have stories like that where these kids get ridiculed and they kill themselves because of this verbal abuse and mental abuse and sometimes physical abuse from not only their classmates and things like that, but from their parents, feeling treated
Yeah.
like outcasts. So it's you got to kind of put yourself in their shoes, and sometimes things like there's a lot of things I don't take as seriously as I see it. But I have to also look at it like, what, maybe I should look at it in a different light. And even though I don't understand it, I should understand. I should sympathize with it in the terms of what's
Yeah.
going on.
It's a real complicated game when it comes to that, because it's like
Yeah,
you want to be understanding, but then it's like if you want to be offended because everyone else is offended to show support, it almost sometimes feels like overload. And it's like, you know what, I don't want to be offended anymore. So
yeah,
then, he's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna. So then, that's where you start being selective. 'Cause it's like, okay, I'm gonna pick this one. I'm gonna pick this one, and that's not that bad to me because of how I feel. I'm gonna leave that one alone. I mean, and it's not right. I mean, and you don't necessarily have to just completely ignore it. That's what I'm saying. Just like you just can't be offended about everything just because someone around the world is going to be offended about it. Then it's too overwhelming.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. There are certain things that you just don't have time for. Certain things that aren't just plain out, flat out, aren't offensive, and people kind of blow it up to make it offensive. But when you really look at it, like the grand scheme of things, it's like it's not really offensive. Like I give you a perfect example. They did an interview on the Breakfast Club. I think it was this week with Lynn Whitfield. So they asked her about the Me Too movement and has she ever been sexually harassed or anything like that? Asked for favors. She said no. And I said if they did, I never noticed it because yeah, people probably said things to me that were like alluding to something like, hey, maybe if you do this, but I just told them no, and that was the end of it. And I never felt like it affected me in any term or way or form. So, as an accomplished actress as she is, and a beautiful woman that she is, she never experienced any of that stuff people are talking about. That's been a hot topic, and even if people tried to, I guess, hit on her about it, or like try to hey, if you do this, maybe I'll do this for you. She straight up said, she herself said, I straight up said no, and that was the end of it. And that's kind of what people, I don't think that's what people wanted to hear. Because now we live in a time where everybody wants to hear that Me Too story. Or, hey, yeah, they want to hear Harvey Weinstein tried me and this, and that. But to hear the other side of it, and I'm quite, in my eyes, it looks like, well, if she said no, how many other women just said no and that was the end of it? How many stories are we not hearing of people saying, nah, I'm good, and just walking away from those type of situations? All we get are the stories of the monsters of Hollywood and how they took advantage of these women, but we're not hearing all the stories of women just like, nah, I'm good, and it being over with.
Yeah.
So the Me Too thing has been blown up to the point where you think that everybody in Hollywood is just a creepo. But that may not be the case. It may just have been a few people, and it might have been if you told this person no, they probably would have did it. They just probably knew who to manipulate.
So what were they actually getting offended about? Like, because it's like, was it just like, okay, if she's saying that didn't happen to her, is she saying like,
she said she never saw
overblown, or she's trying to minimize other people's situations by saying, oh, it's not that serious? Because people will make something out of they'll make it seem like you said something when you said nothing like that. So I'm trying to see, is that the kind of situation this is?
Well, she was flat out saying that she never saw it in Hollywood, and it kind of dispels the myth that it's everywhere in Hollywood in terms of like, well, you have an accomplished actress, and she's not one of her who said that, by the way. You have other actresses come out and say that, well, I didn't really experience that. But, that's not what's part of the agenda right now. The agenda is what people want to push is that, hey, this is happening all the time. And yes, it does need to be a light shined on that, but there are also, not every case is a Me Too. Like you tell somebody, if somebody tries to hit on you and you tell them no, and they leave it at that, that's not a Me Too. That's just the situation that happened. Like nothing you went about your day. But now we've gotten to the point where people are taking advantage of a great system of great stories of people telling how they were violated. They're like, okay, I see this celebrity get all this fame off of this. Let me try to bring up my story. And there are people who really had problems. And I don't want to dispel that at all, but the people who really went through horrible things, they need to get the light shine on them, not people trying to attention seek and things like that.
It's gotten to the point where if you do actually call out someone who is like, they're obviously trying to attention seek.Ey're trying to make their situation seem like worse than it obviously was. It's like you're trying to downplay Me Too. And it's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. It's just this specific person is obviously, but everyone's so in their emotional mode where they just want everyone to be believed, regardless of if the evidence says different. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's wild. Like you can't get hype on someone just because they didn't have your experience. No one's trying to downplay it or anything. It's just she didn't have these terribly toxic experiences, and good for her. Be happy for her about that. You know. Not,
Yeah, fortunately, it doesn't happen to everybody. And,
Mhm.
I think in the times we live in, which even as bad as it is with the person we have running the country, this is probably still the best American time you can live into. If you go into past history and look at
That's
it,
crazy.
yeah, it's crazy to say that, right? But if you really think about it, just think about how about 50 years ago, 60 years ago, in the 50s or 40s, how black people were treated back then. Then you think about slavery time. Then you think about all the times with war. You just look at the 2000s when planes were crashing into buildings.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have that now. You know, this is one of the safest times to live in the United States. You don't have, even with the random shootings and killings of black people, it's being brought to light. People know about it now.
Hmm.
Racism is not being hidden in the dark anymore. Racism is out full force, and you can see it. And people are saying, and not only black people are saying something about it, white people as well are saying, "Hey, this is not cool." As opposed to times before when that wasn't being said. You hear black people saying, "This is not cool," and you see white people like, well, it's not my business.
Yeah.
That's not the time now.
So basically, we're kind of just in a point where everyone is just focusing on the negative. Well, I mean, but it's and it's not even like I just believe everyone is just purposely focusing on the negative. It's like if you look everywhere around you, it's just even when it comes to news media, it's like 99% a combination of just all the negative news everywhere because that's what brings eyes. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
I always say like to get attention, they'll be like, is something under your sink? Or is it killing you? Are you breathing in toxic fumes and you don't even know about it? Tune in at 10. You're gonna tune in because it's like, is this crap killing me? I'm not just gonna let that go. They're not just gonna say, hey, this guy saved a whale. Tune in at 10. Because no one's
that
gonna
don't.
care like that.
Yeah,
So you just get bombarded from every angle with this. And so then that's what your mind starts to look for and bring more up.
yeah. Well, that's what unfortunately because of this last presidency, that's what it brought. Unfortunately, it brought more of a culture that is not necessarily cool with racism, but you have a lot more people out there who are cool, showing who they are,
Mhm.
and they're getting called out on it. Yeah, and that's what the clicks are. Like every time a black man gets shot by police officers because of the history, that automatically becomes front page news. You don't get the stories of the black men and police officer playing basketball together and it becoming page one. If you do get it, it doesn't last for that long. Every
Yeah.
time there's a school shooting, that becomes page one news. Every time Trump said something, even if how stupid it may be, it becomes page one news because that's what people are looking for now. We've had so many stories where people are so negative about certain things that the positive stories just get brushed over. All right, let's talk about
Yeah.
something positive. This is depressing.
Yeah.
All right,
What you got, man?
one more thing, I guess. Did you see the Joker news? And did you see the video?
Yes, I saw the video. I saw some new clips. I think they came out last night when he was in full suit and full makeup.
What did you think?
It it looks promising. I
I
want
think he
to
looks
say
great. I honestly think
I
he looks great.
I think it looks like it could potentially be something good. I know Joaquin Phoenix is a very capable actor, but it's just the fact that it's attached to the DCEU kind of I mean is it attached to the DCEU because they were saying like some movies are DCEU and some are like their own like side storyline and
It's
it could
supposed to be its own
possibly
side storylines.
uh
I think they're trying to get rid of the DCEU by bringing up all these other new movies that aren't necessarily tied to anything. I think this is the Joker will look like it's the first step to be like, you know what? We don't need to tell a connected story. And so far, he looks great as the Joker.
yeah, he looks decent.
And that shocked me. He looks great as the Joker. He looks like the comic book version of the Joker.
I wish the makeup colors were the ones that I know,
Yeah,
and not the blue and whatever the other thing was.
I
What was
thought
it?
that too when I first saw it. But I'm like, you know what? It kind of makes sense because it's an origin story, which the Joker doesn't need. But I'm hoping they go more of the Killing Joke route with it. You ever heard of the Killing Joke book, comic book or
Mm-hmm.
graphic novel, where it tells this story of how Joker was this kind of sympathetic character, even though he's done something so horrible in the book. One of the most heinous acts Joker's ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives this story of this kind of like sympathetic Joker because he was basically a loser. And his life got worse and worse and worse until he became the Joker. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I saw the movie they released a couple years ago.
Damn, don't watch that movie. The movie's awful.
The
The
movie was
animated one,
good.
right? The Killer Joke animated one,
Yeah.
it screws up the story.
Well, you see, I don't know the main story, so to me, that's the only one I know. So
Yeah,
I thought it was decent.
I should get you the book because you need to read the book. That, it's some different things in that story that when I'll just put it this way, the whole Barbara Gordon Batman thing didn't happen.
Kind of refresh my memory. I'm like, it's been a minute. Like, what was the
They
difference?
just added that in there. I don't know why they added that in there. Okay, the Barbara Gordon Batman thing was apparently in the movie they basically say that Barbara Gordon was sleeping with Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, yeah.
nope, Barbara Gordon was like, I want to say 17 years old. Yeah, she was young.
Oh no.
And she was also Dick Grayson's girlfriend.
So they made some changes, made her older. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully they made her older.
And made it so Batman and her were having an affair, essentially. And that basically after Batman was just using her as a plaything in terms of instead of her being like a partner, she was just basically this is my smash buddy.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah.
Well, one day I'm gonna have to go back and read the main one to see what that was like. I mean, because as I know it now, I thought it was a decent movie. I mean, but of course you can't go back and erase that to see it from that perspective.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But some trash is just like, regardless of whether you see it or not, I don't see how someone could see it as good. I was about to go off track because when you were explaining that, I was like, I remember some people saying that the last Airbender, the live action movie, was good.
I didn't like it at all.
It was hot. It was hot garbage.
And I think they're making a Netflix series now.
Is it animated or is it live action?
Live action.
Mm.
I think it's either a Netflix series or another movie. And they're rebooting the movie.
I thought it was a series. I'm pretty sure. And someone was saying like, okay, why are you gonna retell the series that we already have, but just in live action? Like we already have it. You know what I mean? Tell us a different story. Which I kind of understand. I don't really need to see the same series slightly altered, because it's someone else's vision, but like the same characters and same adventures. Like that's cool, but
it's a TV show.
Yeah,
I understand why they do it. I just think it's too soon.
Didn't that go off like 10 years ago?
Maybe, but it's still fresh in people's minds.
I mean, because Korra, that ended like a couple years ago, but that was a second series.
Yeah. I would say, if anything, do another continuation of that.
I would have liked to see the whole group as adults instead of just seeing them through flashbacks in Korra.
Yeah. That would have been cool to see like a older version of Avatar.
Yeah, that would. Mm-hmm. Yep, that'd have been fire. But I don't know. I don't even like. People love those characters. They wanted to see more. I don't understand why they would do that. And then it's like, well, everyone is either dead or they're just retired. Like, come on now. I mean, if they would have even gone like you ever watched Naruto?
Yes, I love
Naruto. You seen like the second series. Well, not Shippuden, but Boruto, his son.
I haven't watched that one yet.
So I mean,
I don't know if it's true or not. So I won't get into that.
I've been checking it out. It's been pretty nice. Well, just like clips here and there. I actually need to get into the series because I thought they pretty much just like left Naruto out, but no, it's like the the older generation and the new generation in the same show, and so you get to see anyway. I don't want to spoil it if you don't know anything about that story, but it looks pretty nice. Now, if they would have gone that route, I'd have been cool with it.
What are some elements of that in Korra?
But everyone's like, I mean, most people are retired and like either that or like you don't get to see them in their young adult, not young adult, but like it's like that stage between young adult and middle age. It's like that's where they are. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think they probably should have had a bridging TV show in between there. That'd have been cool.
Yeah, that'd have been nice.
Because you don't even get to see Aang's son grow up. By the time he comes into form, he's a grown man in Korra.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. And Aang is freaking gone. Like what the heck?
Aang's gone. His kids are grown, like old.
Yeah, at least mid 40s or something like that. It's crazy. And Toph is great, full of gray hair. Is spoiler if you didn't know she was if you didn't know she was in there, that's the kind of a spoiler. But
that's a spoiler. They'll be fine. Like,
hey, that was kind of a surprise though. Like, hey,
cool. Great series, by the way. Legend of Korra is a great series.
That ending was trash though.
You didn't like the ending?
Nah, it was trash. The way they got coupled off, it was so forced.
I can see why you say that. Yeah,
it was so forced. Like, and it was like they just did it to really please the fan base, like that weird Tumblr fan base that always loves to see people that don't need to go together mash together. If they had a legit relationship and it felt natural, it'd have been fine. But it was just like, you know what? Let's do it. Doesn't really make sense, but why not?
I'm not gonna get into that because there's a couple of shows that's done that lately, so I'm gonna stay quiet. That's a whole other topic for a whole other day. There's a couple of shows that's done that exact same thing. Like, okay, that's the thing.
Oh man, I want to ask, but no spoilers though.
yeah, that's my whole point. Yeah, that's why I said I'll just leave that alone.
Alrighty then. So I guess we hit our 3 topics. Unless you got one more for me, we can close this off.
Yeah, we can close it off. We've been going for quite a while now. This is going to be a long episode.
For real?
Yeah.
Dang, I thought we was just going. Anyway.
Just think about it like this. What we recorded before, added on to this.
Mine is like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, once you go clipping stuff out.
Yeah. That's pretty long.
All right. I'm going to have to get this sucker out ASAP. It's not going to be another month. I apologize. I apologize to everybody that has to wait a month or 2 in between episodes. These suckers are gonna come out more regularly. It's gonna be a good time. Alrighty. So thank you everyone for listening. Appreciate you listening. Also, if you haven't listened to it on iTunes, I'd appreciate it if you go in there and give me a rating. Tell people how awesome the podcast is. I really appreciate that. Also, if you listen on YouTube, subscribe to the channel so you can, get the episodes as soon as they come out. And you know where to find me on Twitter. It's twitter.com/SkywardKing. Delvin
_Cox on Twitter. And I don't know what the rest is. I have Instagram. Let me find out. I think the Instagram is Delvin Cox Experience. So yeah, just Google Delvin Cox Experience on Instagram.
It'll be in the description wherever you watch the video. Or watch the podcast or listen to the podcast. If you watch it on YouTube, look in the description. If not, just find us on Twitter. It'll be there. All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.